Hey, welcome back everybody. So I have a military trailer behind me that I have converted into somewhat of a camping rig. So with this video, what I'm wanting to do is just kind of show you what I've done with mine. Mine's a very simple build out and what you might expect if you purchase a military trailer and you want to convert it into like an overland trailer or anything like that. But like I said, I'm going to show you what I have and some things that you should consider before you purchase one of these trailers too. All right, so right off the bat, you can see that I have a roof rack that was previously on my truck bed mounted to this trailer. I have my tent on top. Now, one thing that I experienced with mine is my roof rack that fit my truck bed had a little bit of trouble fitting inside this trailer. And the biggest reason why is this trailer is much wider than most truck beds. This trailer is meant to be the width of a Humvee. And so I had to do a little bit of modification with that. And what that entailed was purchasing some steel bars, which I've got painted black, to extend and meet both sides of the rack, just to get that extra width that was needed for my tent. Now, with my previous rack setup, there was a couple bars that ran, I would say left to right, if you want to think of it that way, that are no longer on the rack, and they're just kind of sitting in there. You can kind of see the ones that have been taken out. And then there was some bars, if we go up and under, that were under the tent that it previously helped kind of keep the rack together. But the steel that I used is actually a fully rounded, or excuse me, a fully square steel tube, unlike this one that has an open end on it. So I'm not worried about the strength of it, but that's just what I have on mine. And we'll dive into a little bit deeper into the considerations if you were going to make a trailer or a camping trailer out of one of these. Moving over here to my towing aspect, as you can see, I got a hitch riser that comes from my truck, and I have the pintle receiver inside of the high-low part right here to connect to the pintle eye right there. On my rig, I also have a new jack. The jack that came with my trailer was severely bent and it was unusable, so I just went ahead and purchased a new jack. I have two different colored chains. The green original ones are what it came with it, but with the high-low adapter that I bought with for the towing aspect of it, the chains were too short, so I purchased some extra chains just to extend them, and I'll have some safety chains while I'm towing down the road. And you can probably see that there's still a bit of a pitch forward on this. I'm not totally worried about that for the towing aspect, because 99% of the time this trailer is not going to be on the road. If I do take it camping, I'm not going to leave it on the truck. I will unhook it and then level it out that way. Currently with my setup, I can mount a shovel and an axe over here on the passenger side of my rack. While this was on my truck, it was actually happened to be on the driver's side. It truly doesn't matter. Mine is pretty square at the moment. As you can really see how wide the trailer is when you look at it from the rear angle. You can see that it extends out wider than both of my tail lights of the truck when you look at it from the back. So if you're driving down the road and you see this, you're probably wondering what exactly is in front of me. But this is something that you can expect if you're behind my towing rig, or if you try to convert one of these yourself. And as you can see, my rig is very simple right now. When I go camping, I don't need too much. I'm not generally taking this thing overlanding to a severe amount. So I just need a simple setup. Any gear I'll have, I'll throw it there, throw it in the bed of the truck. It's not a problem. But what I really want to talk about in this video are some things that you should consider if you're thinking about one of these military trailers, and some of the stuff that I've learned just in the few weeks that I've had mine. And they're not meant to be don't buys or do buys. These are just some aspects that you're going to have to consider when you buy one of these trailers. And the first one that I can think of is budget. Do you need one of these trailers to go camping? Not at all. Everybody should know that. But if you're going to go to one of the online auction websites like I did, govplanet.com, These things sell for all kinds of different prices. So you better have a budget in mind and then go ahead and add the 10 to 15% of what is going to be your final auction price that you're going to pay Ritchie Brothers. Go ahead and have that in mind before you think about getting one of these, because if you have a price in mind and it exceeds that, you could get really expensive really fast. I've seen a bunch of these get sold for $2,000+ In my opinion, it's not worth it. It may be worth it to you, but that is very much something you have to consider before you get one of these military trailers to use it for anything, not just camping. Second thing, pretty much a no-brainer. Do you have a vehicle that can tow this? You can see this can be a very complicated setup. It's not overly complicated, but you're going to have to think about how you're going to tow this, because this is meant for a Humvee, not a civilian vehicle. So be conscious of one of these, of the Pencil Eye, if you're wanting to consider getting one of these military trailers to purchase. They have extra heavy duty everything. So if you have like a smaller truck or a smaller SUV, it may be too big for what a lot of the receiver aspects of your vehicle may be. Just something to keep in mind before you purchase one. Number 3, how much damage are you willing to accept on one of these trailers? Now this kind of goes back to your budget. As you can kind of look at the front side of my trailer, that is not a straight line. Are you okay with your trailer being dent and dinged? I personally am. I think it has a nice rugged look to it when they're a little beat up, and I don't plan on changing that. Now, if you were to purchase one of these, you can do whatever you want with it. You can repaint it. I'm leaving mine kind of as is, stock, but just kind of keep in mind that these trailers are going to be beat up by the military. The military does not care. That's not their job to worry about how pristine one of these looks, but it is definitely something as a civilian you're going to have to consider. Kind of going along lines with the towing is the trailer lighting. I've got this zip tied down, but this plug right here is a big 24-volt plug-in. I have not replaced the trailer lights yet, which I plan to do, but that is also something to consider with one of these trailers. These trailers are not going to plug straight in to most vehicles unless you have a plug ready for that. Like I said earlier, I had to get a new jack. You may have to get a new jack in one of these. This stabilizing foot, most trailers come with 2. I only had 1. Are you okay with only receiving 1 to potentially no stabilizing feet? Moving to the rear, the tailgate on mine had no bolts to keep it closed. They had just jerry-rigged where one used to be and closed it. So you may have to buy extra pins or whatever to keep your tailgate closed. Currently in my state, North Carolina, I had to get a tag. So you have to consider what kind of taxes, tags, and titles and fees that your state will have to have if you're planning to get one of these. In my case, it was actually pretty simple. I received a SF97 from Ritchie Brothers. They mailed it to me. I got it in a few weeks after buying the trailer. From there, I had to take mine to the license and theft department. They check it. They give me a form. I went to the tag office. Same day, I got a tag. It was pretty simple for me. I don't know what every state goes through, but it's something to consider if you're thinking about one of these trailers. Staying back here on the backside, look at the 2 tail lights. The one on the left is an LED, which had been replaced, and the one on the right looks to be the original one that has probably a 24-volt lighting system. So going back up to the front where I had that 24-volt plug that I'm going to have to replace, we're going to have to replace the plug as well as this tail light over here on the right. The one on the left, it may work, but just another thing to consider is lighting with these trailers. You may have to do some modification. This next one may be specific to campers like myself. How are you going to mount a tent like this to the trailer? So in my situation, the front and back, they actually do not mount the same. So the one in the back, we'll take a look. It has 2 holes that has zerts in there, and I have bolts bolted directly into the trailer, and you cannot see them on this outside. Now on the front, It's a little bit different. These were the original flat bar pieces that go for when you're mounting one of these into the truck bed. But you can see on the back side here, I have the button bolts and the nuts right here. So those actually go all the way through. So however you mount your tent to your trailer. Continuing on with the specific to camping aspect. So the way my rooftop tent is mounted in here, so this black steel bar is new, and you can see the little plate from the long bolts that go down. They're just bolted on, and it's a friction fit, and you take this flat bar and you cinch it down tight, and the tent doesn't move. And I'll throw some clips in of us actually inserting these holes and making the adjustments so that it can fit in my rack right now.
Put them down with it. And this will get you a little bit wider too. It'll widen it up.
Now, I did not get a ton of video of us readjusting this rack like I should have, but I do want to give a huge shout out to Trent, who did all the fabrication. He helped out immensely, and honestly, without him, this would have not been able to take place. He had the shop, he had the right tools, and he had the right mindset to figure out how to take some new equipment and pair it on with older equipment. So really big thanks to Trent, because without him, none of this will be looking like it is right now. Now, with all that being said, I want to thank you if you made it this far in the video. Now, I want to hear from you. If you have one of these trailers, let people know what you have done with them. If you're looking to get one of these trailers, what are some questions that maybe I could answer or someone else who has one of these trailers could answer for you? But again, thanks for making it this far in the video. These things are really cool, but they're not for everybody, so just keep that in mind before you go out and purchase one. And with that, we'll catch you on the next one.